James, quick video. I'm actually going up to Dallas. I'm going to go to the South Lake campus of Gateway to see how things are going. Hopefully things will continue to move in the right direction. Some people don't seem to understand that I don't want these churches to fold. I want them to grow. I want them to improve. I want them to make healthy changes. And then you have people like Miss Care. Well, let's talk about James Forrestal first. He referred to my video as clickbait. Well, what you don't understand is I did not know about the age gap between Steve Lawson and this alleged woman that he had an affair with. I didn't know anything about that. I also didn't know that he had to resign from his nonprofit organization that he started, as well as the church. So that was new information. So it wasn't a clickbait video, Mr. James, although I do like your first name. Carolyn Brown wanted to say was questioning my motives in the. I don't think she understands the point of the channel. You know, we expose the deeds of darkness on this channel so that other people aren't going to get hurt. Hopefully, ministers will watch this and be like, you know, I probably should have a window in my door, and I probably should have, I should meet with people of the opposite sex in a public setting, you know, like a Panera Bread or Starbucks, or that way I can be above reproach, and that way there's no hint of sexual immorality. So I want to read something from John 1. It's one of my favorite passages, but it talks about the light versus the darkness. John uses that theme throughout the Gospel of John. Let's put it up on the screen. It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life, and that life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. You see, that's what's happening nowadays, is the light of God's truth is shining into places where it wasn't before. You see, I truly believe that God has patience, and God will be patient with people that are doing wrong things up until a point. Mike Bickle was taking advantage of young women by telling them that, oh, my wife is dying, but God told me I'm supposed to be with you. And he did it over and over and over again, and eventually somebody came forward and it stopped. You know, Robert Morris tried to hide his affair with a 12-year-old. He tried to hide it by giving 90% of the details. But let's not talk about this little part. Let's not talk about this part. Well, that other part came forward because Cindy Clemenshire was courageous, and she was willing to share her testimony. And she's a hero in my book. I admire her greatly for having the courage to come forward and sharing her story. You know, the fact that this woman's father told Steve Lawson, you gotta stop or else. He stood up for his daughter, and that is to be commended. So we're not here just to badmouth people or to shame people, but we're also going to lift up those that do the right things. So people like Cindy Clemenshire, people like that woman's dad, you know, people like the Jane Doe that came forward at IHOP, you know, those are the people that we are lifting up because those are true heroes. And number two, we want places like, at least I do, want places like Gateway Church and IHOP and others, Trinity Bible Church, we're going to pray for them because we want them to not only grow and move past the scandal, we want them to be better than they were 5 years from now. Because if we expose the deeds of darkness, we can encourage others to do better. They have windows in your office doors so people can see in and know that you're not doing anything behind closed doors that's bad. We want people to see their pastor be authentic, and if your pastor makes a mistake, own it and be transparent about it. Don't try to hide it. You know, and I'll say this to those of you who are in ministry: if you're struggling, if your marriage is not doing well, go get counseling. Talk to a fellow minister that you trust, rather than trying to fix it on your own and having an affair or worse. Because that's what you're doing, is you're trying to meet your needs your own way instead of trusting in God. Talk to someone and let them know that you're struggling and ask them to pray for you. You know, I've had ups and downs in ministry as well. And trust me, ministry can sometimes be a very lonely profession because you feel like not a whole lot of people can understand what you're doing. So you have colleagues that you can turn to instead of going on your own and having an affair and like, oh, I've got this public ministry and I'm serving all these people, but I'll just meet my needs my way. No, that's not what you do. If you're struggling with something, find somebody that you can confide in, ask them to pray for you, dig into God's word for the truth, and then you'll come out better on the other end. Don't compromise. Don't put yourself in a bad situation. I think the example of Steve Lawson is important to know about, because anybody, any guy, any male preacher can be vulnerable, and you don't want to put yourself in those situations. You don't want to be alone with a person of the opposite sex. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you are vulnerable and you just don't want to go there. Remember, when you took a covenant with your spouse, it's through the good and the bad, through in sickness and in health. And even if you don't feel loving, you love and care for each other. There's no excuse to be emotionally where you are opening yourself up emotionally about things to somebody of the opposite sex that's not your wife. You just don't do it. Because that's where it starts. When you start sharing things that are personal with somebody that's not your wife, and before long you start meeting together privately, and before you know it, you're ended up in a hotel room with another woman. That's not okay. And I'm not going to stop this channel until stuff like that stops. And I'm telling you, if you're a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, you should not at any time whatsoever be alone with another woman in a hotel room. Period. So, if you are new, please hit like and subscribe. I do want to thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I will do a video tomorrow about what I saw at Gateway Church today. I need to get on the road, so I'm not late. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.